Welcome to Managing Students' Online Behavior, 3rd through 5th grade, Part 3, Teaching Them How. This webinar was developed by Albuquerque Public School Behavior Support Specialists. Your presenter today is Michaela Coffin, an Albuquerque Public School Behavior Support Specialist with 10 years of teaching and administration experience in grades K through 8. The purpose of this course is to provide a foundation upon which teachers can build a positive classroom environment and proactively prevent possible behaviors by teaching students how to learn and interact in a virtual setting. Today we're going to look at 4 considerations. 1, using virtual tools. 2, home versus school. 3, engagement and social skills. And 4, thinking structures. Our first consideration is teaching students how to use the virtual tools. Don't just jump into content without teaching them how they're going to access and use the content in your virtual setting. By allowing this time to teach them how to use the online components, you're going to lessen the amount of time that students are going to have either in your virtual meetings or just in general where they're unable to jump right into participation. So instead, allow time for students to play with the features of your virtual tools in classroom. Perhaps use a scavenger hunt to help them become familiar. Give very clear directions and steps for what you expect them to do in each assignment and activity. Perhaps you should provide how-to guides for students and parents with pictures as guidance. This is going to be especially helpful for your students who are speakers of other languages or whose parents are not proficient English speakers. Sticking to one platform as much as possible is also going to help. This is going to prevent having to go back and forth between multiple platforms during one online meeting. In addition, your students are going to become better able to use one specific platform if that's what they have that practice on. And finally, practice, practice, practice. Just like with any academic content, it's important that students have a chance to practice using the tools that you're asking them to use in order to become proficient at it. Our second consideration in teaching them how is to teach them how to do school at home versus how they do school at school. Students may not know how to create a space for optimal home learning. In addition, they're now surrounded with a multitude of distractions that don't exist in a classroom. So teaching them how to create a space is going to be incredibly important, both for virtual meeting times and for work that they have to do outside of a virtual meeting. Students at this age level may not understand how distracting it is for the entire class to be able to see what's going on behind them in their home. So reminding and teaching students how to find a quiet space where the camera faces a wall, the importance of using headphones with a microphone in them, and making sure that they're sitting away from toys, game systems, pets, etc. is going to really help their learning and the learning of the rest of the students in your virtual meeting. In addition, it's a good idea to ask students to come prepared to your virtual meetings with all the supplies that they might need. So sending out a reminder to bring paper and pencil to take notes or to draw on during your virtual meeting is going to be helpful, and it's going to limit the amount of downtime that you have in your virtual meeting waiting for students to get supplies. And that downtime is where you're going to see behavior issues coming up with other students, whether they're using their mics or their chats inappropriately. In addition, this is a great opportunity to discuss good study and work habits. Those study and work habits at home are different than those at school, and so teaching them how to do that at home is going to be really important. Our third consideration in teaching them how is engagement and social skills. Engagement in person looks really different from engagement online, and now more than ever, students have to be explicitly taught how to interact with others in ways that encourage empathy and healthy connections. So, building in routines into your virtual meetings that help support these engagement and social skills is going to be really helpful. So, maybe something like a morning meeting is a good idea. You can have discussions about peaks and valleys or the highs and lows. This activity where students talk about things that have gone really well and things that didn't go as well is a great way to build that empathy and make connections between students. Teacher self-disclosure is another great tool to use in helping students maintain engagement and build their social skill repertoire. Students are able to form connections with teachers who are willing to disclose things about their lives. Things such as what went well at your home the other day, or maybe you went for a walk and you want to tell your students about what you saw. Little things about how your life is going is going to open the floor for students to ask questions and get to know you better and build stronger relationships. Another thing that you can do is provide opportunities for fun conversations and question asking. Again, this is going to increase students' engagement, build relationships, and allow students to practice social skills with people outside their direct home. For more activities and resources, Centervention.com and CASEL.org have great activities and ideas for how you can incorporate engagement and social skills into your virtual classroom. Our last consideration in teaching them how is using thinking structures. This virtual learning environment means that we're going to have to reimagine what school looks like and can be. And our students' problem-solving abilities are being tested, and how we engage students must change. So using thinking routines and structures can help provide a wider array of student ownership to learning that focuses on their interests, which is going to keep them more engaged, which is going to help prevent certain behaviors. These thinking structures and routines encourage engagement and authentic learning. These thinking structures come from Harvard's Graduate School of Education through Project Zero. You can find more information at the website on the screen, pz.harvard.edu. And here are 4 particular thinking structures that may help you and your students with this authentic engagement and learning, which is going to help prevent those behavior issues from arising when students are bored or not interested. One of them is parts, people, and interactions. This thinking routine helps students look closely at a system and all of the interconnected parts. Parts, perspectives, and me does a similar thing. It encourages students to look closely at the details, viewpoints, users, stakeholders, and their own connections and involvement in it. This is really great at this time when we're realizing that we're connected in so many ways, and those connections are being tested by having to stay home and do school in a different manner. Parts, purposes, and complexities provides an opportunity to make students' thinking visible through creating lists, maps, and drawings of the parts, purposes, and complexities of various objects and systems. And finally, documenting the everyday. This activity explores what you can learn by observing a place you know or something that people in your community do as part of their everyday lives. This is a great activity for students to do at their own homes to see what their days look like now. And it brings some connection into their learning because it's based off of what's happening at the current moment. All of these thinking structures can be found on the pz.harvard.edu website. And they're really good for building that engagement and that connection that students have with what's going on in the world, as well as their classmates. Just as a reminder, for the state of New Mexico, teachers are mandatory reporters. So in your virtual meetings, if you see any of the behaviors listed, or if you suspect any abuse or neglect, you need to make sure that you're reporting to CYFD. If you have questions or concerns, talk to your administration. As always, if you need support, we can help in a variety of ways. Here's what we can do and how we can offer assistance. If you need to contact us, we have multiple avenues for that. If you're part of the Albuquerque Public Schools, you can submit a ticket using the TLN ticket request, or our email bss@aps.edu. If you're within the Albuquerque Public Schools or outside the Albuquerque Public Schools and would still like to contact us, you can interact with us at our Twitter @APSBSS team or through our website